And we're live. Love it. I'm about a minute early. We'll wait for people to get on, but we are live. I see one person watching. Hi. I can't tell who it is, but we're going to give people a couple minutes. I'm a little bit early for the live. I know it takes people a couple minutes to get on. Hi, Leith. It's okay. If you don't know your blood type, I'm going to tell you how you can find out. Hi, Sammy. So glad you guys are on. This one's going to be fun. Hi, Aaron. Good to see you guys. We're going to try and stream it in the office. Dr. Michael's adjusting for another half hour. We'll see how that goes. If there's a big loud noise, it's probably because of that. It's too close together. Hi, Teresa. So good to see you guys. I'm going to give everybody a couple more minutes. If you're just joining, say hi. I can only see how many people are watching. I can't actually see who is watching, but say hi. You're listening to the Blood Type Diet webinar. If you don't know your blood type, don't worry. I'll show you and teach you how you can know. Hi, Donna, watching from YouTube. Love it. I'm going to give people just another minute or so, only because we got quite a few things to go through, and I want to make sure we get through it very timely. Leith, I am very fascinated about this. Like, he's like, this should be fascinating. It really is. It's crazy what I found researching this whole thing. It's incredible. I'm excited. If you just joined us, say hi, because I can't see who you are, who's listening. I can just see the number. We're at 11 here. Okay, let's just get started. I'm not gonna go for too much longer. So tonight we're going to talk about the blood type diet. And for some of you, the connection between your blood type and eating, it might be a new idea for you, or you might have heard about it before. You're just not quite sure what it means, or you may have even looked up some stuff and it got a little bit overwhelming. So I hope that tonight can kind of put a bow and wrap it up for you on what it means to get you started. Now, I cannot go through everything in 45 minutes. It's impossible, but I'm going to show you some resources because that's what I did. I'm a book buyer. There's plenty of resources on the internet that I'll guide you through, but like, I think that I'm going to give you some of the resources that helped me understand and really start changing my diet to eat more like my blood type. But I want to be able to help answer some questions. So if you have questions throughout, I can't see them right now. Nikki is finishing up in the office, but I will have time at the very end to go through questions. And as always, because this is hard because there's not engagement that I can see, you're not right in front of me, I do want to honor you. So any comment or question that you put on the comment bar on Facebook or on YouTube, we can see both of them, answer both of them. I'm going to put you in a drawing to win a $50 gift card to Whole Foods. I will, and no matter who you are, you don't have to be a patient. You could be anybody that's listening in just live at this moment. We will enter in your name at the end to win a gift card. I just want to say thank you for being on it and engaging with me. So I will repeat that a couple times because I know some people get on late, so just hang in there with me. If you're just meeting me for the first time, my name is Dr. Cassie, and this is my family. Dr. Michael is, I usually can say the bald guy, but there's 3 bald guys in our family, so it is me on the left-hand side of your screen. That's my niece, Kennedy, and then my husband, Dr. Michael, his mom and dad, our nephew, brother, and sister and brother-in-law. So this is my family. Welcome to our life. I want you to know, if you haven't met us before, we're real people. I'm not just a person on a screen or a doctor. We have issues too when it comes to eating. Like, we are not perfect, but welcome to what we try to do on a regular basis is improve our life. And we do it primarily for our family. Like, that is the biggest reason why we're chiropractors. That's the biggest reason why I research and I study about nutrition and chiropractic and movement and detoxing and our mindsets, is because, you know, I want to be around for a long, long, long time celebrating with our family, and that my health wouldn't give out for a reason that I could have changed, that I could have changed my lifestyle for. And so that's a big reason why we do what we do. And that's a big reason why, if you have a big enough why, all the rest of it will fall in place. And so I hope that's what happens for you guys tonight. So let's get into the basic of what blood types are. And as I was researching this, a lot of times they don't call them blood types anymore. They actually call them blood groups. And they're called ABO blood groups. And you can see there's 4 different kinds. O type is the most prevalent. That's 40 to 45% of our population is type O. You can see A is in second. And then B and AB are the rarest forms of blood groups that we have in our world. Like, this is a worldly type of thing, because everybody has a blood type no matter where you live. So what blood types do, it's the most reliable measure of your individuality and diversity, like in your entire body. Like, we have our fingerprints and they're not all the same, but your blood type also does the same exact thing. And you're very different from other people. And I did research on this, and I was blown away. And I want you to know the history behind blood types. Like, it wasn't always well known. And it first started was in 1628, the idea that blood actually circulated through your body was first proposed. So in 1628, it was like, something's happening with the blood throughout our body. This guy named William Harvey started to research this. And he was a student of this guy named Fabricius in Italy. He had learned that there were valves inside of our bodies and veins, and they were pulsing blood throughout the entire body. And so they started to research blood to see what the difference was. And their knowledge first came from the battlefield. And so they knew that when somebody had extreme blood loss, that created this shock and even death inside of the body. And by the 16th century, physicians were now starting to attempt to replace any blood that was lost in surgeries or blood that was lost in battle. And they knew that they were going to get blood from a healthy donor. They weren't going to give blood from somebody else. So they wanted somebody that had quote unquote healthy blood. But what they found pretty immediately is that there was either success in the blood donation or there was a massive failure. And it was pretty unpredictable, because those people, either some of them lived or some of them died. And in an attempt to fix this, they tried to even use blood from other animals like lambs and dogs and rabbits, but that was very unsuccessful. So then they started to use milk or even salt water to donate into people that had lost blood. And unfortunately, those were all failures as well. And it wasn't until about the 20th century that blood loss was the most frequent cause of death in childbirth and on the battlefield. And so they were having this problem. They were like, we don't know what to do. We don't understand why some works and some does work and some doesn't. But then in 1888, there was a researcher, his name was Herman Stillmark, and he made a very important discovery. This all is going to make sense because it matters for your blood type. And I want you to understand the why you would change your food by how the history of this came to be. So he wanted to discover, and he was studying the toxic effects of castor oil, and he was doing it on lab animals. And he was completely shocked by how much suffering was happening to those lab animals that he switched his experiment completely. And he decided to use cells in petri dishes instead of actually using live animals. And what he found was that when he mixed castor oil with red blood cells, it started to what's called agglutinate. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But what agglutination is when it's your red blood cells or your cells start to clump together, almost like a clotting. And what happened is that he found that it only occurred in some animal species, but not others. And he also saw that castor oil could not only just agglutinate red blood cells, but he also saw that it was affecting liver cells and white blood cells also. And so then it goes on in 1990. In just 1990 is when an Austrian-American physician and scientist, his name was Karl Landsteiner, he found that when blood was mixed with different individuals, agglutination also took place, but only in some cases, not in other cases. So then that is where ABO blood groups was formed for the very first time in just 1990. It's crazy, but this is how they found that transfusions were now safe. And it ranks as one of the biggest medical breakthroughs that have ever happened of all time. Like he won the Nobel Peace Prize and all of that. So it's a big deal. So this is what it looks like. So underneath the microscope, you have each one of those blood types that you see right there. Now, the reason that we know most of the time for blood types has a lot to do with transfusions. And so if you have blood type A, you have A antigens on your red blood cell, and they look just like that. But then your body makes antibodies towards B. So that means that if someone that has B blood goes into your A body, it will get rid of all of it. Like it will attack and it will destroy. Because how this works is that your antigens on the outside of your red blood cells are basically like the guardian of the gate. Then it's not letting anything in that's not supposed to. And what they do is they create these antibodies that will ward off anything that your body sees as dangerous. And so when an antibody encounters an antigen, like it's kind of like this lock and key, and it goes like this, and that just can be anything, like microbes, viruses, bacteria have antigens on them. And so if a bacteria, a virus, or something comes into your body, but your body's already made these antibodies, it'll just go onto it, it'll grab it, and it'll get rid of it. That getting rid of is actually agglutination. So the good thing about what happens with these antibodies, you can see if you look there, there's like 5 different spots where I think I can do this. Yeah, you can see 5 different spots right here that your body can attach to things that aren't supposed to be in there. So basically it's like this glue that goes inside of your body to get rid of things. Now for bacteria, viruses, all of that stuff, it's a great thing for all of them to come together, glued together, so your body can get rid of them faster. But the same thing goes, and that's why blood types compatible in an emergency are only certain kinds, because you can't give blood to somebody because there's antibodies in there that will completely destroy whatever is in your body. But there's a greater story than just bacteria, viruses, bacteria, viruses, and what am I saying? Bacteria, viruses. There's one more. Parasites. Sorry, bacteria, viruses, and parasites. There's one thing. It's way more than just that. And so when we take a look, it's not just in transfusions like I'm talking about, but a lot of times that's what it's known for. But here's what happens. The research continues that not only knowing that you can't just give transfusions and give blood to somebody else, this term agglutination, people started to research it even more and even more when it comes to our bodies. And Paul Ehrlich is his name. He showed that he was doing this research and he found that common lentil beans would clump red blood cells of rabbits, but it had no effect on the red blood cells of pigeons. So when they started to see this, they were like, what is happening, and why one and why not the other? Like, what is happening here? So then it took about 4 more decades where then they started to research soybeans, lima beans, and peanuts. and different lectins or proteins that are contained in different vegetables. Fast forward to the 1960s. I said 1990. I think I got that wrong, and I will look it up when I'm done. I think I just mistyped that on here. But in the 1960s, his name is J. D'Adamo, and he was the first to advance this theory about how your blood type and your blood group could actually be a method of optimizing your diet. And how he found this out was he would just initially, from his studies of being a physician, he put a lot of people on strict vegetarian, low-fat diets. And he saw that like many people did pretty well, but others did not. Some of them even performed poorly or got worse from eating a diet just like that. And so through the years and countless patients that he had, he started to see that this pattern started to emerge, which we'll talk about in just a second. But in 1980, he wrote the very first book, and he called it One Man's Food. And it was inspired by this quote: "One man's food may be another man's poison." And that's what this blood type diet is about, is that one thing could be good for a type A, but it could be poison to a type B. And so then his son spent the next 20 years, they have the same exact name, research. He now wrote the Eat for Your Type diet, which if you've researched it, it's what you know the most of. I have it, but I got the big encyclopedia of it just for what I do. I don't think you need the encyclopedia, but if you want to research it more, Eat Right for Your Type is the book that you want to get. But what they're finding is that they're learning that many foods will start to agglutinate the cells of certain blood types, but not others. So that means that some foods can be harmful, but some foods can be good, and it depends on your blood type. So I keep using this word agglutination. This is what it looks like. And so what this agglutination is, it's a chemical reaction that occurs between your blood and the food that you eat. So you can see there on the left-hand side, you see those clumps of blood. That's agglutination, where it should look like on the right. And so the foods that you eat can cause that inside of your body, and you do not want that. You don't want premature clotting. You don't want extra clotting. You don't want clumping of your blood, where it can lead to a ton of issues and problems in your body. I think the biggest thing that's crazy about this whole thing is that the mainstream medical community largely remains completely unaware of this. Like their research in their school, like when they're taught in medical school, is mainly studying these blood types. It's limited to their role in transfusions and not actually the food that we're eating. So like their research and science is behind the curve of what could really help people get healthy and well and be very specific. And so there's been a 90 to 93% rate of overall satisfaction by eating for your blood type and those that do. Some of the biggest ones are improvements in digestion, overall sense of energy and well-being, and weight loss. Weight loss is the most common, but what they're finding is that this one size fits all is no longer the case. Like you cannot eat that way. So it really challenges the validity of that actually being a thing, and making sure that it's very specific to your own biology, like inside of your body. So how do you find out what your blood group is or your blood type? Number one, if you've donated blood, they'll tell you your blood type. So if you haven't donated blood and you can go donate blood. You can do that for free, get your blood type, help a human. That's possible. Sometimes I've heard that it can be on your birth certificate, not all the time, but you can double check there to see if your birth certificate says it. Or 3, there is an at-home testing kit. I don't know if Nikki is here. She'll be here in a minute, and she will, actually, you know what? I'm gonna post that link right now. You can get an at-home testing kit. What's great is it is only $9.95. And I'm going to post the link real quick right here because Nikki is in the room with somebody. Posted it. You can click on that link and it'll take you right there. It doesn't mean anything for me. It's just the cheapest one that I found that's only 10 bucks to do all of your testing at home. You prick your finger, you'll rub in 4 different circles, mix it together, and what you're looking for is the agglutination. So they've provided the chemical that you need to mix it together, and then you can see what your blood type is very easily. Okay, you guys ready to get into what each one of the types are? Remember, if you just joined us or you joined a little bit late, any comments or questions that you have that you want to put in there, even if it's a amen, hallelujah, if it's like a awesome, hi, whatever it is, I'll enter in your name to win a $50 gift card to Whole Foods. If you have questions, please put them there. I have plenty of time at the very end to go through all of them. So let's talk about type A. A type A is known as a cultivator. Now I put we thrive on a vegetarian-based diet because my blood type is A. The positive and negative from what I've researched doesn't matter according to this part right here. It matters on other things, and if you need to get very specific after you've tried this, then do your research on more. Like you can do way more with your blood and research it all to see what's inside of there. But for right now, I'm only talking about the letters and not the pluses and minuses. So type A's thrive on a vegetarian-based diet. Type A's are also known to have lower levels of stomach acid in their bodies. And so that's why vegetarian-based is good, because you need more stomach acid in your body to digest protein or meats. There is a tendency for heart disease and cancer in type A's. So the reason I say that is if you know that you're a type A and if you're eating out of alignment with your blood type, according to this, then it can increase your risk for that. And so knowing and getting more in alignment of eating will help your body reduce the ability of creating disease or cancer inside of your body. One of the ways that you can, if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a type A and I eat all the meat in the world, a way that you can start to transition out of that is by substituting fish several times in a week. Now, I'm going to go through a couple different things. I'm not going to go through all of them. The resources that I'm doing and what I would recommend is that when I go through your blood type, they have these little tiny books that go through each blood type for every single one of them. And they're very specific, and they go through the 12 different food groups. And I love it because when I go in there, it tells me how many servings I should have approximately a day. It also tells me exactly which ones are highly beneficial, which ones are neutral, which ones I should avoid. It has an entire list of tons and tons of foods. And I recommend it because at first, when I'm like looking at all the free resources online, I was like, what am I supposed to eat? Like, I don't understand. And it's very specific inside of here. And it's like the developers of the Eat Right for Your Blood type. So I feel like they know what they're talking about. So when it comes to meat for a type A, the greatest benefit would be to eliminate all meat. If you had to eat meat, you would choose poultry over red meat. So type A's don't do very well with red meat. I'm a very perfect example of that. Dr. Michael once, you guys might know, he ate like carnivore, completely meat, and he was like, you should try it. So I was like, all right. So I was eating pretty much ground beef every day, just ground beef. And I was like, I feel awful by doing this. And so switching over to eating more poultry instead of red meat has helped the transition. No processed meats at all whatsoever for type A's. They do recommend tofu. I'm going to talk at the very end about my pros and cons of this also. I don't love the idea of eating tofu. I don't eat a whole lot of tofu. Like, it's very random that I do. And if I do, I make sure that it's non-GMO, because tofu is a lot genetically modified, and soybeans are estrogen-like. So I don't want to eat a whole lot of that. I just would rather eliminate that completely from my diet, okay? When it comes to seafood for a type A, you can eat 2 to 3 times a week. Seafood, they're really high in omega-3 fatty acids, which helps with cardiovascular disease, since heart disease is one of the links in type A. So eating fish like cod, mackerel, red snapper, salmon, all of that, having fish several times a week helps. Right now, I eat fish 4 to 7 times a week. Right now, I'm really at 4. I try to eat it every other day to keep my omega-3 fatty acids high. I try to eat more of it than supplement it, because I can absolutely do that, but I would much rather get it from food itself. Now, when we get into oils and fats, and I recommend, if you know your blood type, that you can take some screenshots of this, however that looks, so that you can go back. This is recorded, so you can go back and listen to it as many times as you want to. But a type A needs very little fat to function well. And that surprised me a little bit, because if you know me and Dr. Michael, like, we preach all the time, like healthy fats, healthy fats, healthy fats, healthy fats, all the healthy fats, but you don't need a whole lot as a type A. 1 tablespoon of EVOO, which is extra virgin olive oil, on a salad or steamed vegetables per day will aid a lot in your digestion and elimination. So that surprised me. But it helps. Like, if you know that about your body, you don't need to shove a whole bunch of healthy fats, or you might feel better by not putting as much in. And then if we get into nuts and seeds, this is where you're going to get the majority of your protein components are from nuts and seeds. Walnuts and pumpkin seeds are the best source for you. I have a handful of pumpkin seeds every day. That helps to it's like a snack. I just put them together. I get raw pumpkin seeds from Costco and eat them every day. Beans and legumes. We thrive on vegetable proteins, but not all beans and legumes are good for us though. So chickpeas, things like hummus and that, like, they're not really that great for us. Our body doesn't break them down. And I actually knew that about myself before learning about blood type eating. Like, whenever I would eat chickpeas, I would have so much gas and bloating and indigestion but it was different. Like, I didn't really have those with black beans, so I just quit eating chickpeas. But kidneys, lima beans, and navy beans, we really want to avoid those and not eat those at all. Very interesting, right? And then when we move into vegetables, so these are vital for pretty much every blood type, but especially for us as type A's. But there are some that aggravate us because of lectins, is what they're called. So some vegetables contain proteins called lectins, and they're harder for our body to break down, so they can irritate our digestive system. They can cause inflammation in our bodies. And I knew that I was pretty sensitive to lectins a couple years ago. Went to a pharmacist in Alabama, Dr. Rodden, and he is a pharmacist turned into like natural holistic. And he told me, he's like, I think you really need to avoid lectins like tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, and potatoes. And I was like, seriously? Like, my whole CSA basket that just came was full of them. But I was like, okay, whatever. So I got rid of them. And I used to have joint pain, especially after I worked out. And once I got rid of lectins, like, it was completely gone. And having like less fatigue, less brain fog by getting rid of the lectins. And I thought all vegetables were good, but for some of us, just like it can be good for others, doesn't mean that they're good for us. So avoiding things like cabbage and capers and eggplants and mushrooms and olives and peppers and pickles, which are my favorite food of all time, potatoes, rhubarb, sauerkraut, sweet potato, tomato, yam, and yucca. So it's kind of crazy. And even when I read that, I'm like, ugh. Like, it gives me anxiety, because I'm like, what about like sweet potato fries? Like, I thought sauerkraut was good. Like, pickles, they're my favorite food. But as I start to eliminate them from my diet, like, you start to see you have more energy. Your joints don't hurt as much. Like, you can sleep better because your body's not agglutinating. It's not clumping. So let's get into fruits. So when we get into fruits, like eating them at least 3 times per day, like, that is something that's very foreign to me. I don't eat a whole lot of fruit, but focusing more on like the berries and the melons is good for type A. Now, tropical fruits can be a stomach irritant and interfere with absorbing minerals. So mangoes and papaya aren't really that great for a type A. Now, I just bought a whole bag from Costco, so I'm not perfect, of mangoes, dried mangoes, because they're so good, and it's a great snack, and it's easy. But I ate some today, and I could feel my belly just like rumbling a little bit, and I was like, dang it! But we're not perfect when it comes to this, and that's one thing that I've learned is that like having this guide has helped me so much to be like, should I have that? Should I not? Let's see what happens if I do, if I don't. They're highly beneficial. They're either neutral or avoid them altogether. Beverages, teas, and coffee. Starting each day with a small glass of warm water with the juice of half of a lemon is a good thing for a type A. And those of you that are type A, of all the things that I've said so far, this might make you happy. You can have red wine 3 to 4 times a week, and coffee and tea can benefit us. Woo! If somebody were to tell me that I couldn't have coffee, I don't know what would happen, but I would do it if it said not to. And then I want to talk about supplements because they talk about them in here. The goal for supplements on a type A is really to strengthen your immune system, supply some cancer-fighting antioxidants, balance your microbiome, and improve cardiovascular function. Vitamin B, vitamin C, zinc, and liver life from BioRay are the recommendations that I have gotten from here that we have in our office that helps someone with a type A blood type. And Nikki's here. Yay! She is here. She's going to post something that we've never done before, but it's a product order form. It just helps make it easy so you can see the cost and the discounts and what that looks like, and you can have it right in front of you. She's going to have a link right there so you can just have it and see. But we're going to do 15% off of supplements tonight, single supplements. But if you want all of them for your type, you can get 20% off of your bundled supplements. Just text her at 615-557-5406 to order, and we'll make sure to have them set aside for you. I have everything. And then click or if you're not part of our office, you can click the link that she will that goes right to our store, and you can order them all online. I just can't give you a discount for ordering them online. Now, if you're like, but I don't know my blood type, it's okay. We'll still give you a discount. So if you find out what your blood type is after this webinar, just let us know and we'll make sure to give you the discount too. So no problem. Now, let's move into type B. I'm going to go through all the types and then we're going to answer questions. So if you have questions, make sure put them in the comments and we will talk about them at the end. Dr. Michael just said that I put his cell phone number in the bottom corner. Don't text Dr. Michael. Sorry. Nikki, will you put the right phone number in there? My whole face just went red. Don't text Dr. Michael. Sorry. He's going to kill me. But 615-927-4571. 615-927-4571. Okay, let's move to type B. Type Bs are known as the nomads. And so a balanced diet is really what needs to happen for a type B. A balanced diet of meat, dairy, grains, and vegetables. Type Bs, though, are also known to have a strong immune system and a very balanced nervous system, which is awesome. But if there's an imbalance in a type B in their diet, there has been known to be links to type 1 diabetes, chronic fatigue syndrome, autoimmune issues, especially Lou Gehrig's disease, lupus, and MS. I think that's pretty powerful. If you think about it, by changing your food, it can cause less clumping, less agglutination, which could help people with Lou Gehrig's, lupus, and MS. Crazy, right? So let's talk about what it looks like for meat for a type B. Lean red meats. So unlike an A should not eat red meat at all, and they should eat more poultry or none at all. Type B's, no chicken. And the reason is because chicken contains a blood type B agglutinating lectin in its muscle tissue. So we don't want that because the body will start to attack it and cause issues and problems and cause the agglutination to happen. When I think about a type B, I think about more of like a paleo type of a diet where it's very balanced, like meats and veggies. That's what I think about for a type B. That would be a good place to start. So then let's talk about seafood. You thrive on seafood if you're a type B, especially deep ocean fish like salmon and cod. But type B really needs to avoid all shellfish. They also contain a lectin that can disrupt the immune system and cause inflammation in the body. But fish like cod, flounder, mackerel, grouper, salmon, sardines, tuna, mahi-mahi are perfect examples of seafood that a type B should have. I didn't talk about dairy in a type A because dairy is not really good for a type A, but type B is the only type that can enjoy a variety of dairy. And so if you eat dairy and it doesn't bother you, and some of you eat dairy and it bothers you all out, it might be your blood type. But I also know that in some cultures, they don't have a lot of dairy, so it can also aggravate them if they're like, well, I'm a type B, but dairy aggravates me. It could be more of a cultural thing. Like in like Asian cultures, like they don't eat a lot of dairy, even though they could be a type B. If you introduce it, it can be tough on their body to start off with, but they can actually handle it more than any other blood type. So type B, this is where you really want to introduce extra virgin olive oil into your diet if you haven't. So having 1 tablespoon per day will also aid in digestion and elimination, just like type A's. But avoid any sesame, peanut, or corn oils on type, if you have type B blood type. Nuts and seeds. Most nuts and seeds are not advised for a type B at all. Walnuts are it. Like if you're type B, just stick to walnuts. Don't eat any other nuts. Your body doesn't do very well with other nuts. Beans and legumes. You can eat some, but it's better to limit and avoid beans and legumes. Like you're very much a meat and vegetable type of a human, and with dairy in there if you handle it well. But some are beneficial like kidney beans, navy beans, and lima beans. Vegetables, 3 to 5 servings every single day is what you're shooting for a type B. But there are a few things. You can see way less than a type A. Avoid artichokes, cassava, corn, popcorn, olives, pumpkin, radish, rhubarb, and tomato. So those are some things that type Bs don't do very well with. Fruits. Pineapple is very good for you if you're a type B. It has bromelain inside of it, which helps your body digest and gets rid of any maybe bloating that you might have. Type B are actually susceptible to bloating as well. Having fruits 3 to 4 times a day is a good idea also, maybe as a snack. Beverages, teas, and coffee. So you do better with herbal and green teas and water and juice only. Sorry for you type Bs, but coffee, regular tea, and wine are not optimal for you. Supplements. The goal for you is different than a type A. Like when you take supplements, you're really trying to fine tune your already balanced diet that you're creating. You also want to just improve your metabolism and the efficiency of it, strengthening your immune system and improving any brain clarity and focus. Remember that somebody like a miracle remedy, a supplement that your type A friend swears by could actually be null or void for you, and it could actually cause more harm than anything else. So that's why I love how specific these are. So for a type B, hold on, we're gonna do I gotta change something here so I don't confuse you all and then everybody sends messages to Dr. Michael. It's 927-4571. Hold on one second. 927. Last one, hang in there with me, guys. Okay, let's go back to the supplements, magnesium, and here we go. Magnesium and Max GI are the biggest things for a type B supplement for you there. Let me just go through a few things of why. Especially if you're not used to eating meat or dairy, like because of your blood type or how you've ate in the past, or you just thought you should eat vegan or you should just eat vegetarian, not knowing your blood type, you might experience some like digestive issues additionally, like initially from adapting to starting to eat more towards your blood type. So that's why Max GI is so good, because it has digestive enzymes in it. So then it helps your body start to adapt and digest food a lot better. And then magnesium. Magnesium, like type Bs, they're at a special risk of magnesium deficiency. And so making sure like they're susceptible to different things like fatigue, depression, and nervous system disorders. So supplementing with magnesium, 300 to 500 milligrams per day should be considered in part of your supplement routine. So remember, it's 15% off single supplements. Nikki will have that supplement form there if you haven't clicked on it yet, and 20% off of any bundled supplements. You'll see the pricing that is on there as well. All right, moving into type AB. You are known as the Enigma. And the reason is because it's the newest of the blood types, and you're both type A, you have characteristics of type A and type B. So you are both vegetarian and you're both meat and dairy. You have needs for both. But you have a high tolerant immune system. You're very versatile when it comes to the foods that you can eat and how you can live, which is kind of awesome. But when it comes to meat, we're going to do both things. So like a type A, you need to limit your intake to 1 to 3 times per week of eating meat. But like a type B, you want to make sure that you're avoiding chicken. However, turkey is highly beneficial for type ABs. Seafood. This should be a staple in your diet. Just like we're eating it 4 to 7 times a week, this should be part of all of your meal prepping and meal plan. This should be part of your grocery list, is to make sure that you have cod and grouper and mackerel, mahi, monkfish, red snapper, salmon, sardines, snails, and tuna. And then oils and fats. Use olive oil over animal fats. So don't use butter and lard or anything like that for this particular blood type. Walnut oil also is a good thing for ABs. Now, I know that I'm just giving you some things right now, but the reason I'm giving you is why doesn't that work, is because of that agglutination. So I want to bring you back to your blood starts to clump if it is in the wrong blood type, and the food going in, it starts to clump. And so this is the reason why these foods, so they've taken foods, stirred them inside of red blood cells of the specific types, and they saw agglutination. So therefore it needs to be avoided so our blood is not clumping unnecessarily. So nuts and seeds are a mixed picture for you. So eat in small amounts and use them with caution. Walnuts and pumpkin seeds are your best bet when it comes to that. There's just not as much of the agglutination throughout everyone's blood type. Another mixed bag is beans and legumes. And kidney beans and lima beans they slow insulin production in type A and B. So avoiding kidney beans and lima beans is what you want to do. Vegetables. 3 to 5 times a day. But there are some things that you need to avoid, avoiding artichokes, cassava, capers, corn, popcorn, fenugreek, mushrooms, olives, peppers, pickles, radishes, and rhubarb. Fruits, at least 3 to 4 times a day. Focusing more on grapes and plums and berries help your blood stay nice and clean and clear and healthy. Now, oranges can be a stomach irritant and interfere with absorbing minerals, so also avoiding oranges is going to be a good idea. Now, when it comes to beverages, teas, and coffees, starting each day just like type A, with a small glass of warm water, juice of half a lemon. You can also follow it with a diluted glass of grapefruit juice or papaya juice, and that helps eliminate digestion and elimination. A glass of red wine can be had 3 to 4 times a week with a type AB, if that's you. But green tea should replace coffee for you. So your body doesn't do very well with coffee, but you can still have that caffeine by having green tea instead. How's everyone doing out there? Everybody okay? I can't see any comments yet, so I'm just waiting to see what happens here. But the goal for an AB, you're really wanting to tune up your immune system, supply cancer-fighting antioxidants, blunting any stress that's inside of your body, and then strengthening your cardiovascular function. And so how you do that is with vitamin C, with zinc, and with Liver Life. I love that Liver Life exists. So Liver Life is from BioRay. It's in our office, and you might have seen like on the top of one of the shelves, there's like these tonics in different boxes across the way. There's some for kids, there's some for that. So it doesn't matter if you're a kid or a teenager, Liver Life and all this stuff can still be for you. But I love it because it helps to detox your body, because your body needs some calming herbs. It needs some milk thistle. It needs those things that will help detoxify and create antioxidants inside of your body. And so Liver Life is one that does that. And if you've taken Liver Life, you most likely will notice a pretty big difference right away, especially in your sleep. But it does help support those that have type AB blood, because there's just so much that happens in your blood from type A and type B, has both antigens, all of that it helps your body respond a lot better. Now, type O, moving to the last one. Type O, you're known as the hunter, and you thrive on high animal protein, meat-based diets. You have a pretty hardy digestive tract. You're the one that is the most of the population. You think hunter-gatherer times. You have a pretty strong immune system for the most part. But some of the struggles with type O's are insulin resistance, blood clotting disorders, so this is very important, inflammatory diseases like arthritis or low thyroid function, and ulcers. But what happens again, like I said before, is that if you're eating according to your blood type, that starts to diminish all of those things. I think of a type O as someone on a paleo keto diet. So having meat, but like no dairy, like you can't, they're like no dairy at all. Like we're going to go there. Severely restrict dairy. So that's why I say like paleo keto, because like it's like a high protein, lower carb, but like no dairy at all whatsoever. So not your typical keto diet. So when it comes to the meat for a type O, it can't just be any meat and all meats. Really looking for lean, chemical and pesticide-free beef, lamb, beef liver, and venison are the ideal. So if you get the majority of your meals to have that in it, you're thriving. So that means grass-fed and free range, all of it. Chicken and turkey are allowed, but it shouldn't be your main source of protein. You have a higher stomach acid, so that is why you can eat as much meat as you can. Your body can handle it. However, the more stressful your job is or demanding of an exercise program that you're going through, the quality matters more than you realize. So you can't just like go have a stressful job and eat a hot dog, or work out and then go eat chicken sausage that's not like coming from grass-fed free range. Like, don't just go eat anything. Make sure that it is high quality. Seafood, richly oiled cold water fish. Cod, herring, and mackerel are your golden seafoods that you love as type O's, that they nourish your body. Dairy, severely restrict dairy. Your body is not designed to properly metabolize it. And the reason is because your blood type comes from the hunters and gatherers, and they didn't have dairy. So your body was never really meant to metabolize that, as opposed to other blood types. They came from different things, and your body has adapted in the environment, and even from your heritage and where you came from has something to do with it as well. Oils and fats, you respond very well to a lot of oils. Like olive oil, flaxseed oil are the best ones for you. But that's why I think keto, because I think like oils are good for you, meats are good for you, but dairy is not, okay? Nuts and seeds. These should never take place of high protein meats at all. Like in type A's, they have nuts and seeds to replace some of the protein because their bodies don't have animal protein, like they don't need the animal protein. But you as type O, like you don't need them in your diet. If you eat them, you do need to make sure that you chew them thoroughly so that your body can properly digest it, or use things like nut butters where it's already been churned for you and almost chewed, okay? Beans and legumes. Are you guys still with me? Okay. Don't utilize beans, like you just don't utilize them very well. Your body doesn't process them. Adzuki beans and black-eyed peas, though, are beneficial to you. So if you wanted to have them every now and then, go for it, but you don't need to have all of them in your diet. Type O vegetables. So this one is kind of similar to type A, where there's like a specific group of vegetables that your body doesn't respond very well to. For you as a type O, the Brassica family can inhibit thyroid function. And so one of the things in type O is that you can have low thyroid function. So things like cauliflower and mustard greens are in that family, and your body doesn't do very well, especially if you struggle with any type of a thyroid condition. But leafy green vegetables help to provide vitamin K for you. And they've done research and shown that type O's can have a limitation in vitamin K. Vitamin K is needed for clotting. And so if you don't have leafy green vegetables in there, you can miss some of the nutrients that your body needs in order to clot your blood. But some of the other things in the Brassica family are alfalfa sprouts, capers, cauliflowers, alfalfa sprouts and cauliflower, cucumbers, leeks, mushrooms, mustard greens, black olives, pickles, potatoes, rhubarb, spirulina, taro root, and yucca. Wanting to eliminate some of those vegetables if you are a type O. I thought this was kind of funny because researching it and seeing there was some patterns that they saw that type O's love to eat like breads and pastas. Like they had a lot of cravings for that. And their solution was for them is to eat fruit rather than bread or pasta because it has the fiber connected to it. It's a little bit sweet, and it can get rid of some of that craving that you might have as a type O. However, oranges and tangerines should be avoided because of the high acid content. It doesn't do very well for a type O. Most berries are okay, but blackberries might irritate your body, but it will cause the agglutination that we're trying to avoid in the first place, and why you would change over your food habits because of your blood type. Now, vegetable juices for type O's are much more preferred than fruit juices. Also, seltzer water, club soda, and tea are good. Modest red wine intake, but it can't be done daily for type O's. However, coffee is a problem for type O. A lot of agglutination happens in your blood with coffee, so you can substitute green tea for that. Lastly, for type O's, supplements. The biggest thing is supercharging your metabolism, balancing your microbiome, preventing inflammation, supporting your thyroid, and blunting any unwanted stress that could be in your life. Magnesium is a big one. It's a calming, has a calming effect for you type O's that your body needs. Max GI, same thing because of the high protein intake. You do have a higher stomach acid, but as your body's starting to transition, having digestive enzymes will help your body digest even better. Now, you see there next is adrenal calm or loving energy. You don't need both of these. They typically do the same thing. If I were to recommend one over the other, it would be loving energy because it's one of the tonics from BioRay that we have here. But adrenal calm is also awesome because it has rhodiola inside of it. And this will help to modulate any stress that the type O might have, especially because of your response to maybe exercise or muscle tissue. It will balance neurotransmitters inside of your body that are typically elevated in type O's, especially if you're not eating according to your diet. So absolutely recommend either one of those, not both. They do the same thing. I just love the loving energy because it's a tonic and it's a liquid and it gets absorbed into your body faster than taking a supplement like an actual pill. A reminder, Nikki's going to post the supplement form. You can click on that. You can see the cost of every single one of these supplements. Each one singly is 15% off, 20% off if you do the bundle. You just have to text the office to order, or you can click the link to order online. I just can't give you a discount if you order online. And then lastly, reminder, if you don't know your blood type, and then you do and you want these, just let us know and we'll absolutely honor the discount later on. So just wanted to let you know what's coming up before we do the Q&A at the very end. We got 2 new workshops next Monday, the 10th at 6. Dr. Michael and I will be talking about movement. I'm excited for this one because we're talking about pre-workout, post-workout. Nikki's going to be teaching with us about the different types of workouts, high impact, low impact, nutrition for working out and what that looks like. So making sure that your body is moving. It's the biggest goal that we have in people every single week in our office. It's like, what's your goal? More exercise, more movement. And then Friends and Family Day is coming up Wednesday, August 19th. So any of your friends or your family, remember what happens that day. It's a special day. So the people that you love and that you care about, they get discounted exams and x-rays in our office if they need it. It's normally $100, but it's discounted down to just $40 for everything that they need for their very first visit. But remember that $40, 100% of it goes to the Wild Indigo program. We love them. And Joanna, if you're still on, we love you so much for running that. But it's a creative and therapeutic program for women that are incarcerated, their body, mind, soul, spirit. And Nikki and I help as part of that, teaching nutrition and exercise. So we want to give back to them. We love what they do and we want to support them. So Q&A and then my final thoughts. I'm going to do my final thoughts first. Overall, I absolutely love blood type eating. I think there is 100% something to it. The only things that I have concern with is the tofu for type 1s, just because of the soy that happens inside of it, and making sure that if you're going to eat it, it's got to be non-GMO, so that means not genetically modified, because 98% of soy products are genetically modified. And the other part is that if you have any hormone issues, like if your estrogen is too high, soy is not the answer, because it's estrogen-like, so it mimics estrogen inside of the body, and so we don't need to mimic more estrogen in our body. I would just rather avoid that at all costs and go more directly towards just having a more vegetarian-based diet without eating soy. When I go through this book right here, in every single blood type one, they say to avoid coconut and avocado in every single one of them. I don't know how much I agree with that completely, because I see the benefits of the healthy fats on that. However, I know that a type A doesn't do very well with like a ton of fats. So maybe limiting that and not having like avocado on every meal for your blood type. But I haven't eliminated them completely. And I don't know, I tried to look up to see why. I can kind of figure why coconut, because it's very saturated. And so knowing that it's like solid at room temperature, it might not be good. I don't know. So I don't know about that part yet. And they also say to eat peanuts in here. And I'm not a huge fan of that either, because there's fungus around peanuts and it can cause more issues if you don't have the right peanuts. So I'm just not going to eat them. I would much rather eat something else like the walnuts or the pumpkin seeds and not just eat a whole bunch of peanuts for that. So that's my final thoughts when it comes to the blood type diet. But I'm going to go through right now and look at some questions that need to be answered, if there are any there. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Brandon. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Miguel. Hi, Tamesia. Hi, Hayel. We miss you. Good. She's like, I don't know my blood type. So the first step is to know your blood type. So make sure you find that out. Kayla says, so excited to learn this. I have one question. We're inundated with these types of diets: keto, Whole30, paleo, measuring. How do you choose one? Honestly, we try them all. So we've tried every single one of them and we still continue to. Like, blood type is new to us, but we started to do it and we want to see how we feel. I'm not fully on it yet because I haven't gotten rid of coconut at all, which is part of the avoiding thing for my blood type. But I try every single one of them and see what works the best for me. I think it's tough when you have like a husband and a wife, or like a household that has like a family in it, when it comes to eating like this. So sometimes I believe you have to compromise. And that's where maybe even supplements come in handy, where you know that you're not going to be eating it perfectly. And that's not the goal anyways, to eat it perfectly. I think like 80-20, 90-10 is a good place to be. But trying them all and really seeing which one works the best for you and your family. Okay, that's the book. She got it there. Hi, Chris. Nikki shared the thing for the at-home test. Rest in peace, B-types. I love it, Erin. Good. Nikki put the post in there. If you didn't, for these books, you can go directly to the link if you know your blood type, or go back into it once you know your blood type. They're like $6 to know. I love it. Chris says, high stress equals high quality steak. I love that. Going to treat myself tonight. So good. That's correct. What about salmon for type O? Let me go directly to the resource here and just make sure. Salmon is neutral for a type O. So that means fine. It's not one of the highly beneficial ones, which I love about this book too. It's like highly beneficial, so have more of that. But there's also neutral, so there's no issues or problems with it. So salmon is neutral for a type O. Hi, Quincy. I know, blackberries, one of your favorites. I know some of this stuff shocked me. I was like, seriously? Chris, I'm going to have a problem with me having a problem with coffee. I love it. So I was having a problem with putting butter in my coffee for bulletproof. But I will tell you, and those of you that have watched, you know how much I love my bulletproof coffee in the morning. It's like my staple. I figured it out and I'm okay. And I didn't die. And I'm happy with it. And so switching over, you can do it. Give it a shot, give it a go, see how your body does. You might be absolutely surprised, and maybe even get rid of an addiction or a habit that your body doesn't love. Love it. Can we get a copy of the slide deck? You know what? I think I can do that. Donna asked, I can create a link to a website that we have that's not majorfamilychiropractic.com. What I'll do is, I'm pretty sure I can. I will post it into the comments once I get it there. I can't do it tonight because we have a team night at church, but I should be able to do it later this week, and I'll try to get it up and I will put it on a website. I'll put the link on there. What if you thought you were one blood type your whole life and tried to eat according, but then realized you were actually a different blood type? Should you immediately notice a difference, or will it take some time to heal? I think you could notice two things. I think you can notice some immediate things, but I think sometimes it takes some time to heal. Like, especially if you're going from eating meat and red meat and all of that to like not eating it, vice versa. Because a patient came in today and her and her husband eat like vegan, vegetarian, like they've done it for years. And she just found out that and that's the meat eater. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's the exact opposite. And so for her to go from eating vegan, vegetarian to a high meat diet is going to be very tough. And that's why I think the supplements are important, especially those max GI ones, to help your intestines and digestive system give it a little bit of help before you might notice a true difference. Great question, Erin. My mother-in-law wants to know, well, my father-in-law through my mother-in-law wants to know if chips and cookies are okay. You know, I laugh about it because I want to invent chips and cookies diet, but it doesn't exist. Or just like bulletproof coffee and chips, but probably never going to do a webinar on that. So thank you guys for being on. If you have any other questions, we'll be able to see them, or you can always email me at Dr. Cassie at Major Family Chiropractic. If I know the answers, I will help you. Highly encourage you again to get some resources if this is something that you want to try, see how your body does. I hope you understand like the history of how this even came to be and the importance of why you would give it a try so that your blood doesn't clump and agglutinate, and give your body a chance to really truly heal, and biologically supporting it since your blood runs throughout your entire body and there's a direct connection with the food that you eat with your blood. So know that I love you all. Those of you that made a comment, I will put your name into the drawing and we will get one of you a gift card. Love you all. We'll see you soon.